Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. It is my honor and my privilege to welcome the head coach of the Denver Broncos, Mr. Nate Hackett. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How you living?
I'm doing very well. And Nate, you and I have known each other for a very long time, from Syracuse to the Buffalo Bills, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Green Bay Packers, now the Denver Broncos. This has been a decade where I've gotten to see you flourish and do some incredible things. What can you say about the road to getting to becoming a head coach?
I mean, it's been an awesome road. You know, I've always looked at it as everything happens for a reason. You know, there's been a lot of good things. There's been a lot of bad things. And I think as long as you learn from all those things that have happened to you in your past, you get to keep growing. And I think that looking at where I'm at now as a person, as a husband, as a father, as a football coach, I'm just I'm a better person, and very excited to be here at Denver Broncos.
Very shortly into you being there, Russell Wilson enters the building in this trade here. Just what you could tell me about that. I mean, you're coming off of Aaron Rodgers. Now you have Russell Wilson. You're a little bit spoiled, but I love every minute of it. So what can you say about having Russ in the building?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think, once you get the job, you go into hiring your staff and working through all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you start hearing that, you might have a possibility to get a football player like that. And, I've been very lucky to go against him a lot of times, and I've watched him play and just had so much love and respect for his game. And when all of a sudden you find out that there might be an opportunity for it, you get so excited. I mean, and then now going through a bit of time being with him, I mean, wow. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, this guy is so intense, so fired up, so excited. He's a perfectionist, and that's something that I appreciate so much. He's like a coach out on the field, and it's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, like I said, I've gone against him a whole bunch of times. I let him know that I beat him all of them, but that's just a little competitiveness in me. But been very lucky to go against him. Happy he's on our team.
What can you say about what he brings to this offense? You have a lot of weapons that I know. Javonte Williams covered him at North Carolina, Mike Boone at Cincinnati, Cortland Sutton had him at SMU, and then obviously you have Jerry Jeudy and company. What has Russell Wilson already done, in your opinion, to show you the leadership that he can demonstrate on the field and off the field? What has he brought to the table almost immediately?
I mean, it's funny. He walks out there on the practice field, and it's just unbelievable demand of all their greatness. It's not just, hey, run a route. It's run a route perfectly. And, he demands that of himself too. So I think that's the great thing, is that he's got that self-ownership to be able to go out there, and if he messes something up, or he's kind of holding himself to that high standard, and he shows that. And I think that makes guys follow him. And then you watch him drop back there and throw the ball, and you're like, oh, look at him sling that thing. So I think that's just this combination of a lot of different things that he's done, and just you hear his voice, you hear just how he wants to push the guys, how he wants to make them great, but at the same time make himself great. That humility is what's so great that he's been showing. And you saw it right day one, right when he was just with the guys, when he talked to them on Zoom the first time.
And when we look at the team that you have now, and being a guy who's obviously offensively created a lot of positivity collegiately and professionally, just what you've been able to do on the offensive side of the ball, to have Javonte Williams, Mike Boone, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, I know Tim Patrick has done some good things as well, to go with Russell Wilson. Just what you can say about the weapons that you have, and if this can be comparable to anything else that you've had in the NFL up to this point.
Yeah, the first thing I'd say is we're going to need that defense to get us the ball back, because, like you said, there's a lot of weapons, and we need to have that ball so we can keep feeding all those guys that you just mentioned, because there are a lot of unbelievably talented guys on this team, and I'm so excited to find different new creative ways to get them the ball. Comparing to the past and all the places I've been, I think the unique thing about this game of football is every team is so different. Every player you're with is so different. They're all very good, and they're all good in their different ways. I mean, you've got the Devontae Adams, the Aaron Rodgers, the stuff we did with Blake Bortles, Ryan Nassib, Alex Lemon, like all those guys. There's so many different things, so many different people. The idea is to make it the Denver Bronco offense and find out the things that these guys do well and watch them flourish in it. And I think that's the process we're going through right now. The truth is, I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but I know we're going to find everything that Russell does really well, and the things that he meshes best with the guys we have on this team.
How would you define this chapter of the Denver Broncos?
Define this chapter. Energetic. I would say a lot of energy. That is one thing. I think that when I was able to walk into the door, just wanted to be me and have seen, just enjoying ourselves and creating that environment where everybody's excited and wants to come and play ball. And I think that's the atmosphere you always want to create as a football coach. And I think you see that. And when those guys like playing the game and are enjoying being in the building with each other, I think that's when you see a lot of good things out on the football field.
Going back and looking at the process for you to become a head coach, it's something that I thought was more than deserving, especially coming off of this past season. And your name was on a lot of my lists and allegedly on a lot of people's lists. Why ultimately did Denver make the most sense for you?
There's so many things. Just going through the interview process with the different teams and, I think that being in the room with people and meeting as long as I did with, different organizations, I think there was just an amazing feel with this organization, all the people that were involved in that process. And then coming into the building and getting a feel for that, you just felt a great connection and you felt great communication. And I think to be successful in any big business, doesn't matter what it is, I think communication is so paramount. And when you have that great feeling with people and that you feel like you have a good opportunity to communicate, you want to go in that direction. I think it was just a great fit from the beginning.
They said that, from who I spoke with, they loved your energy. So saying energetic makes a lot of sense. Why do you feel like you ultimately got offered this opportunity? Because of all the opportunities that open up in the NFL, the first head coach vacancy to be filled was Denver. So why do you think they jumped on you so quickly from your point of view?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of those things right there. The feelings that I have, I think we're very mutual. And I think that's why that we all talked about that communication. We all felt that. And, in the end, this was the way they wanted to go. And, I think that there's a lot of great coaches out there, a lot of great people in the interview process, a lot of great candidates for the future and guys that might not have gotten the job. And I'm very, very lucky and very grateful for this opportunity. Now we got to go win some football games.
I do have a few more things to get to in that respect, but I do want to bring out my props for you as I promised. So
all right.
I do have, I believe this was a draft hat from back in the day, but I have a Denver Broncos hat I picked up a long time ago, and I can't really do much with it.
Is that Reebok? Wait, is that Reebok?
It's Reebok, yeah.
Man, that's old school right there.
But if you look at it, Mr. Floyd Little signed it.
Nice.
A very good friend of mine of 8 years before his obviously his untimely passing here, but to have
no doubt
on this, and that's one prop that's always in the studio. My other one, I have plenty of them, but I feel like because this is the color of the Denver Broncos, orange is that dominant color. I felt like with you being a Star Wars fan, this would make sense for you and I personally, and it's definitely the rise of the resistance in the AFC West.
I love it.
So
I love it. Star Wars all day.
So I got to ask you: is there a play yet called BB-8 as I asked you for a couple of years ago?
Not yet. We're still working through all that terminology as we build this system for the Denver Broncos. But I'm going to be pushing all that stuff. It seems for some reason I'm the only one that knows as much about Star Wars or likes Star Wars so much, so it kind of pertains to me a little bit more than others. But I'm still trying to fit that in.
The AFC West, arguably now the best division in football. We look at what Denver has. We look at the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Raiders. Look at the quarterbacks in this division in and of itself. You have from Derek Carr as well as Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, and Justin Herbert. What can you say about the challenges of this division and knowing that you have to rise out of what has become one of the most competitive divisions, if not the most competitive in the NFL?
Oh, I think it's by far the most competitive. Without a doubt. You look at all those teams, all around. Not just the quarterback. The quarterbacks are great. We all know that. But you look at all the other players that all those teams have, and they're spectacular. And, as a coach, you got to play the best to be the best. It's just it's just the facts of it. You can go and blow out a lot of teams, but in the end, it's about making the playoffs. It's giving yourself a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's what every coach wants to do, and now we do it 1 week at a time, one step at a time. But that's the ultimate goal. And you need to have that confidence. You need to go through that adversity. You need to go against the best teams so that you're ready when that time comes to be able to face the best teams across the league. So I think it's great because the more tested, the more battle tested you can be as a football team throughout the year, the better you're going to be.
Nate, your father, Paul, had so much success. You went from being a ball boy in the NFL to a head coach. Has that hit you yet? And what can you say about Paul?
I mean, it is crazy. It's funny. I was talking to some of the players today, talking about the times back at Kansas City when I was there with Derek Thomas and, Kimball Anders and Marcus Allen. I mean, you sit back and those were some of the best times of my life. I mean, growing up in a locker room, being around those guys. It's funny. My dad called me and told me there was a documentary on Peacock on Joe Montana. And he says, he's like, hey, you got to go watch this episode right here. And, I don't even know if they know it, but there's a picture of Marcus Allen, Joe Montana, and me right next to him. And it's like, oh, my gosh, I was a ball boy at one point. I remember picking up jock straps and washing towels and folding towels and, you being in there with the players, running errands for them, going to the gas station to get sunflower seeds. And so it's amazing. It's awesome to be here. And, my dad has done so much for me over these years and taught me so much. And I'm just so grateful for a lot of things in this world.
Final note here for you to come from when we first met in Syracuse, building that offense, taking different elements of different NFL offenses to create what you had at Syracuse, to then move on to the Buffalo Bills, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Green Bay Packers, and now here to Denver. Of your road, how would you best describe what it took to become a head coach in the NFL? And what would be your advice to people out there chasing their dreams?
I think you got to go through adversity. I mean, you really do. And I'm not talking, one of those hard days. You got to go through those real difficult, life-checking, really look into who you are as a person. Because I think that makes you more confident. There has been some amazing times throughout my career, and there has been some really hard times. And, like I said earlier in this is, as long as you look back and look at those hard times and you learn from those and you understand why they happened, whether what you could have changed, what you could have done, how you could have been better, and always loving it, even in those bad times. I mean, it's a hard profession. I mean, people love you and then they don't love you. And so for us, we always got to stay the same way. You got to keep all the players. They got to follow you. They got to look at you. And no matter how bad it gets, you got to stay the same. And I think that, throughout all those times, all the things that happen, I mean, you and I have talked about back in Syracuse when we changed the offense a week before the season started, and I look back at that and that was one of the most educational experiences of my life for me, to trust myself and trust that I was doing the right thing. So I think when you go through those really hard times and how you come out of that, makes you so strong. And it's like, where I'm at right now, I know that there's going to be some things that I will have never seen ever in this game. And I think that's why this game's so beautiful, but I'll be damned if there's not enough that has gotten me prepared for this situation here.
Well, Nate, as always, I appreciate it. And, you said sometimes they love you, sometimes they don't. Well, as long as I've known you, it's been nothing but love. And I am more than honored of the patience that I had to have for you to finally be in a place that I felt like you deserve was well worth it. And I can't wait to follow it all the way through. And I know we'll always keep in touch. So just know that from me to you, I am elated that a friend and somebody that I respect tremendously gets to wear the hat of a head coach. It's about dang time, and I'm happy for you.
Appreciate you, man. Since day one, you and me, baby. Appreciate it.